Is one of our partners. Scott is probably one of the best marketers and digital strategists I've ever met. He's laughing at that, but it's true. And he's going to talk about Commerce Reimagined and AI and B2B content. Scott?
Thank you, Tom. Yes, I am going to talk about how commerce is being reimagined and how content and AI are central to that success, especially in the B2B space. My name is Scott. If I've met you before, it's good to see you again. Please connect with me on LinkedIn. I promise I don't hound, but I enjoy the occasional like, so I'd appreciate that. At Flywheel, we do a lot of B2B e-commerce. We are a Znode partner. We're also in the Progress Sitefinity ecosystem, building out digital experiences. We're a Salesforce partner, and we're very much into AI acceleration, using a few other platforms, AI 1-Z Nuclea, which is now a Progress product, and Copilot, to help you actually implement some of those things that our last panel was talking about. So what do I want to accomplish with coming up here and talking to everybody? I want to convince you, or at least reconfirm for you, that there's never been a better time to build the e-commerce experience, the one you know you need. This is a statement that I can attribute to everybody that I've talked to this year. It is a lot to take in. We are also in a precarious situation right now. In our businesses, in the world, we're kind of constantly being knocked off balance, and then we pick ourselves back up and we get the confidence back and we think we know where we are, only for something to knock us over again. There's a lot of that happening in the world, in our ecosystems, in our businesses today. We're hearing from our leaders, from our executives, from our friends, from our neighbors, from our politicians. Don't forget about the opportunity right outside your door across the street. Domestic resilience is something you can't forget about. There's a huge market available to you right there. And then we're also hearing there's never been a better time to embrace market diversification, go abroad, find new demographics, tap into something you haven't done before, because that's the only way we're going to find growth. That's the only way we're even going to be able to maintain the stability that we've been used to. There's so much changing right now. So, are we supposed to innovate, or are we supposed to operate? If we make some choices, are we going to be saddled with tech debt? Are we going to make the wrong decisions and be criticized for not unlocking ROI fast enough? Or are we going to be resigned to the bin of irrelevance because we didn't decide and technology and competition moved on without us? Okay, are y'all stressed? I'm sorry. At Flywheel, we use the metaphor of the flywheel all the time. A flywheel is the big spinning disc that helps maintain a consistent output of energy from a generator. And sometimes you need to think about how you can make that generator work. And you're going to put your energy into building the machine. And sometimes you have to put your energy into keeping the wheel spinning. And you want to take advantage of the energy and the infrastructure that you've established. And you want to make sure you get the momentum out of it that you know you can get. All right. That's why I'm here talking to you. I want to make sure that we're all feeling really good about this statement 20 minutes from now. But I'd really like to know from everybody in the room. I'd like a little bit of validation as well that what I've been talking about resonated. So please come stop me outside in the hallway, in the washroom. I don't care. Just let me know. Are you going to build? Are you going to push? What was your key takeaway? A little bit of validation would be helpful. Okay, so how are we going to get there together? I'm going to talk about the twin challenges that we're talking about a lot with our clients. I'm going to get into the reality of the B2B buying experience, and then I'm going to give everybody a path to the promised land. Okay. These are not all the challenges that everybody faces, but these are some kind of the classic ones that we're contending with and working on more than any others. So we've still got that classic challenge of content and commerce being somewhat disconnected. But then we've got this emergent challenge. Some folks have mastered it more than others. Maybe some of you are at different sort of comfort levels with AI, but it's overwhelming. In the content and commerce world, e-commerce is treated more like a system. Content is treated more like marketing, and the org chart keeps those apart. I'm sure everybody here is doing it better than that, but that's the simplification. In the AI space, as I was saying at the beginning, we don't know how to start with our businesses. We know how ChatGPT works for us individually at the end of our palm on our phone to add personal productivity. It's a wonderful tool. But all the things that we've talked about, that the panelists talked about, we don't know how to necessarily implement it within our businesses the right way, safely, confidently, that kind of thing. So I'm afraid, folks, that buyers don't care about those frustrations. They want one modern, seamless, story-driven experience. Now, if you ask them why they didn't buy, do they say, well, it's because you didn't give me a seamless, story-driven experience? No, of course not. But we know from focus groups and analyzing user behavior and purchasing patterns that when you can achieve this, you're going to find more results. So let's understand what it is about that B2B buying reality that we need to keep in mind in order to help us accelerate these experiences for our teams and for our products. Please check out Stefania Virali. She was at an event that we hosted back in June. I'm giving her credit because the next few slides are from her. She deals with strategic storytelling. And she was telling us about the fact that everybody, we know all this, but I'm going to remind you. We have two hemispheres in our brain. We have system one that's fast, instinctive. We have system two that's slow, logical information gathering. System one wants to find the easiest plausible story. System two wants to construct a believable story. So you got one half that's trying to put all the pieces together into something that can be articulated and used to convince somebody else. And on the other side, you're like, oh, I like that one. That feels good to me. Let's get going. In the B2B evaluation journey, 70% of the decision gets made in the selection phase and 30% gets made in the validation phase. These are stats from 6 Sense. When you are selling to somebody, that buyer on the other side of the table can be exposed to up to 800 touch points, not from you, but from the entire consideration set that they're talking to. So your job is to find them at the right time to be able to talk to them and convince them. Well, actually, it's not really about convincing. That's the key insight here. 81% of buyers choose the front runner they had selected, they had identified in the selection phase. Whoa, really? I can't convince them? No. You got 20% of the room there to do that. And this is because of, and Stefania's presentation goes into all the cognitive biases that are behind all this, so I'm summarizing. Folks, we want to take the clearest path so you don't change your mind and we convince you that what you already knew is right. So your job, selling to a B2B buying team, is to make it efficient and risk adverse so they can get to the completion of the task. So you got to find the opportunity to deliver your story, your narrative, in a way that supports the bias that already existed. A few other details from the B2B buying process that we are familiar with, but I will reiterate. 91%, this is cool, 91% of the time when you enter a sales meeting, your prospect is already familiar with who you are. That's good. You're doing all the right things. Our content is working. Our brand reputation precedes us. The marketing engine is turning over. So it's a highly informed stakeholder group, but it is very often a misaligned group. Buyers revise their understanding of their own problem an average of 3.1 times during complex purchases. That's from this year. That's a stat from this year. Therefore, 86% of the time, the buying purchase stalls out. Not saying it doesn't get started again, but that uncertainty, that complexity delays the whole process, slows things down, timelines move out, sometimes initiatives do get abandoned. And 81% of the time, buyers express dissatisfaction with who they ended up choosing. They got to the end and they're like, well, I guess this is who we'll go with. Maybe it was the right choice, but for some reason, that system one hasn't kicked in and said, yeah, I like that. Okay, so you're trying to do demand generation. You're trying to get your next client to come onto your system so you can set up a catalog for them so they can start ordering everything they need every time. And then you're still in a buying process because now you've got to talk to that procurement person, that order management person. It's more of an individual relationship now. You're dealing with orders, renewals, upgrades, what have you. It's personal. It doesn't change. The complexity isn't eliminated, it just gets more personal. And so we know that we want to provide self-serve options for that. 75% of buyers prefer a rep-free sales experience, but self-serve purchases lead to more regret. Whoa. So we've got a lot of challenges in front of us. We've got misalignment, information gaps, group fragmentation, complexity, skepticism, and buyer's remorse. So if your buyers are feeling overwhelmed, it's no wonder that you are too. Trying to satisfy this, trying to message to them, trying to curate your digital experiences and your overall messaging. All right, here's the promised land, folks. There's a QR code here. We also have some handouts at our booth. So we've got a B2B acceleration checklist for you that breaks down in one page some categories of how you're engaging and how you're working with your B2B buyer. We're going to take all these challenges, we're going to break them down into categories of how we can address those challenges so that we get to clarity, open access, consensus building, momentum, credibility, and more peace of mind. The sheet breaks it down into things you can do for your business, things you can do to your digital experience, and how AI can accelerate that. So the result is this matrix. So I didn't want to get into everything here in my presentation. This is something you can take a look at later, but it gives you just one thought on every category about how to improve the way that you're building out your digital experience and interacting with those buyers. Because I want to get into more specifics about AI and how that can be leveraged as a tool for acceleration here. So we know that AI is good at a lot of things. Here's the list. This is not a comprehensive list. In the B2B e-commerce space, it's really good at product comparison, search, and product recommendations. We're, to echo what somebody else said, seeing a lot of success in deflecting those tier 1 support conversations. So, mixing metaphors here, thank you AI. I was like, well, I'm Canadian, so we skate faster than the bear that's chasing us. Can you skate faster than AI in order to get ahead of this and master it? Well, as the metaphor goes, you don't need to. You just need to outpace your competition. I don't know why AI put people skating in running clothes, but also at our recent event, we had Scott Brinker. He's a great influencer, thinker in MarTech to follow. And he was talking to us about about Moore's Law and how the pace of technology is exponential. And he reminded us that technology has always moved faster than organizations because organizations are people. And those of us who can be more strategic and simultaneously agile are the ones that are going to gain a competitive advantage. So you don't need to outrun the bear, you just need to be more nimble and a little bit more thoughtful and a little bit more precise about what you're doing in your organization. Okay, great, but it's still a freaking huge goal I'm trying to get to. Work the problem, folks. Keep your eye on the prize, take it one step at a time. This is Gartner's maturity model. They have different ones for different technologies. I quickly found this one. You've probably seen it before. They have variations of this based on what it is you're trying to implement, but this is the idea. And a lot of organizations are all about strategy. Yeah, we're tackling AI. We struck a committee, so somebody over there is going to let me know how we're doing AI. And when they do, don't worry, there's going to be lots of agility. At the campaign level, I get to choose if it's going to be red or blue. So we all need to think differently. We all need to put strategy at the center of what we're doing and think in a more agile fashion, in a more discrete way. We need to iterate through that strategy and experimentation phase faster. It's not this quarter we came up with a strategy. The strategy needs to guide overall, but we need to give a little bit more flexibility within our organizations to accommodate strategically led agility. When we're rolling out an AI chatbot, an AI web assistant for our customers and our clients, we start with something very digestible, giving that assistant a general awareness. Then we'll ladder up into letting it do product comparisons. Then we'll get into customer-specific data that the AI assistant has access to. And then we'll get into workflow automation and allowing the AI assistant to actually place orders and whatnot. So that's the maturity model that we use when we're starting the process, and we're looking at how do we just get general information going, and then we layer in further from there. Once you see the results and evaluate it and decide that that's worth doing. Not an e-commerce scenario like most of the people in this room, but somebody that's embraced the technology nevertheless. Tours and Barrie has a section of their website for people that are organizing sports tournaments. So maybe you're a team manager or you're a sports organizer. You got a lot to figure out. You need venues, you need entertainment, you need meals, you need accommodation, you need transportation. And so the task was previously very manual. I got to research all this, I got to take some notes, I got to make some calls, narrow it down. And the AI assistant now has all that information for you, and it can simplify that task. This is an example where we want more creativity in the exchange. We want the AI assistant to be more generally aware of transportation options to the town of Barrie, what some of the accommodation options are. A lot of the information's on the Barrie website, but a lot of it's on the city website or on other websites. So we're still faced with the challenge of, okay, great, but how do I know which one of these tools I can actually trust and which ones are my users going to trust? And we've been acclimatized to the fact that AI hallucinates. And leaders like you all know this, but we're not quite certain how to mitigate for that. And maybe you're starting to hear these terms, RAG and LLM, a little bit more often. ChatGPT has to be everything to everyone. And it might be helping a high schooler with their social anxiety or their homework, and it needs to be just as equally capable of helping you draft an email that doesn't sound angry. Versus RAG, Retrieval-Augmented Generation, which is more of a siloed AI. It's the same technology, it's the same neural networks, it's the same algorithms working on top of just your data, as well as having access to the LLM. So the most successful implementations right now blend a RAG system with an LLM. And they use error correction inside your own ecosystem. So we work with Progress, Agentic RAG, AI 1-Z, Microsoft Copilot Studio, and those sit on top of ChatGPT, Gemini, whatever model you want, and we can literally turn a dial. How creative, how much of the LLM do we want to use, how much of our own RAG database are we supposed to draw from, and then those platforms are also the orchestrator that are going to be able to talk to platforms like Nelly, Znode, to bring in your contextualized information. In the background here, I've got a screenshot of one of our clients in the financing space where we're automating financial quoting processes. And that's a highly curated process. So a human being used to key in the data from emails into the quoting system. AI now recognizes the data, puts it on a screen for validation, and a human confirms it. So we're definitely automating the process, but we're doing it in a stepwise fashion so that it can be done digestibly, transparently, and safely. So quick call out to the fact that if you're looking to accelerate the AI for your organization, please come talk to us. With our partnership with Progress, we do have some opportunities to help us get a customer story, and there's some opportunities for some negotiation on what that project would look like. So Chris Knepp is our Sitefinity product manager. He's partner manager. He's with us. He's going to do a breakout this afternoon talking about some more of the AI capabilities within Sitefinity that are also, and other ones that are available from Progress. So if I've whetted your appetite enough, come talk to us more. So getting into bridging content and commerce, this is the slide I had up a few minutes ago. These are the things, a highlight of the things that AI is very good at. Do we get to all go home? Are we all out of jobs? We know the answer is no, because we're the ones that are going to make this work. We're going to let AI do content creation so that we can focus on storytelling. We're going to let AI help us with search so that we can review it and focus on the analysis and what to emphasize. We're going to use AI web assistants to do their thing so that we can focus on building out better user experiences. Content personalization is going to happen so that we can get more precise and in-depth with the content. We're going to let it do product comparison and recommendations so that we can get into curation and enhancement and refining and optimizing that information that's being presented. Trend identification turns into now we can make priorities, and summarization lets us make decisions. AI is going to do tier 1 support so that we can focus on relationship building. Compliance monitoring, AI does really well. And that's the point where you can take a break and let it go grab a coffee. We should at least have some benefit and a break to our effort. Okay, did I get there, folks? Does it seem like there's never been a better time to build that digital experience that you know you need? In the world where commerce is reimagined, you're going to focus more on story-driven e-commerce experiences. You're going to be able to keep that buyer reality in mind instead of focusing on just delivering the accuracy of your catalogs. You're going to use that sales acceleration checklist that I shared to know that you're on the right track. You're going to build your own maturity model so that you have a way of validating your progress towards your own success. You're going to go and learn more about RAG AI and start using those kinds of systems to increase your confidence and accuracy and comfort with using AI platforms so that ultimately you can go further than AI can do for yourself. So again, I'd love to know what you've taken away and what you're going to act on here to get your flywheel going. Leaders who win won't be the ones who waited for perfect. They'll be the ones who kept moving. Thanks, everybody.
We have a 10-minute break and then another session. So if anybody wants to use the restroom, refresh water,